Good morning, everyone. It's June 21st, 2018. Lot of stuff going on. So there's been around 500 earthquakes on the planet, most of which have centered around Hawaii. And one thing most people are overlooking is the nuclear power plants. I know I talk about this stuff quite a bit, but I cannot stress to you the implications of these power plants being scattered all over the east coast of the United States. And of course, we already have one in Fukushima melting down. All it's going to take is one more hit to Fukushima, and you can kiss fucking Japan goodbye. And I do expect for such an event to occur. Now, scientists warned back in 2017 that 2018 was going to be a year of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. And so far, they've been pretty accurate, haven't they? Well, but they're not talking about the consequences. Not only do we have these earthquakes and volcanic eruptions, but we've had record flooding throughout Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa. I think Texas is now getting it. Eventually, all these disasters are going to collapse our economy. The Michigan infrastructure and the places where these floods happened, it's done. The roads are completely filled up. So we don't have very much longer for the mass casualty event or events we've been discussing and waiting for. Now, are any of you afraid? If you are afraid, don't be. Don't be afraid. Because fear clouds your judgment. Fear makes you stupid. It grips you. It makes you freeze. It makes you do all kinds of irrational shit, such as commit suicide in the face of extreme adversity, which many people have opted to take that route out, suicide. I would never commit suicide, okay? So if I end up dead one day and they try to claim that I was mentally ill and suicidal, I may be mentally ill, but I'm not suicidal. Although I do like some of that old Suicidal Tendencies music from the skater days, but I'm not suicidal. So if I end up dead, and like David Crowley or many, many others, somebody killed me. But I digress. So, we've had earthquakes in California as well. How long is it going to be until we get one serious enough in the Yellowstone region to cause an eruption there. We have a volcano in Mexico becoming active, and it's a giant volcano. We also have one in Alaska that's becoming active. So, you know, if you're not prepared, if you don't have your shit together, if you've not made peace with the idea of dying, if you have not made peace with your Creator, whoever you choose to acknowledge as your Creator, if you have not made peace in your soul, I really advise you to do so. And if you're not prepared, man, you're running out of time. One thing I'm going to order here probably this week is a couple of sets of radiological water filters. And the reason why I'm ordering these water filters is because I completely 100% expect at least some of the nuclear reactors in the United States to go way of Fukushima. And I totally expect Fukushima to get completely swallowed up by an earthquake / tsunami at some point in the very near future. These things I do expect. Am I wrong? Am I right? We'll see, won't we? We'll see. Now, these nuclear reactors, I've covered this a lot about their placement. Now, Fukushima put right in a earthquake, tsunami prone area. And then, of course, we have the ones in the United States right on the coastline, down there in Florida. If a tsunami big enough comes, that nuclear power plant is going to be gone and melt down. If this Planet X or Nemesis system, this is a binary system. We have a binary system, meaning there is a smaller sister or brother, however you want to look at it, to the sun. That's called a brown dwarf star. And the reason we can't see it until it's up close is because it's a reddish color from iron oxide, and doesn't glow very brightly because the nuclear fission processes in it have failed. And that's why it's a brown dwarf star. Now, supposedly Planet X is behind the sun right now, and when it comes out, when it gets to its closest point to the sun, it's going to slow down and then slingshot around, kind of like one of those carnival rides, and well, it's going to gain speed. If we're on that side of the sun when it happens, this planet will pass above our planet. It will not collide with our planet, so don't worry about a planetary collision. But when it does pass, the closer this thing gets to us, the more of these events are going to unfold, and the more tsunamis we're going to get. There's been water disappearing from all these different places sooner or later that water is going to have to come back. And when it does, it's going to be very, very ugly. I'm trying to think of where it was just the other day, where they woke up and the ocean there, somewhere in Asia, it was gone. There was no water. They could walk out pretty far, and they were looking for artifacts and other shit there. So, you know, I think that the planet theory is probably correct. I think it's probably what's causing the solar minimum, number one, and number two, all the volcanic eruptions and earthquakes, number three, among other things. You know, a pole shift where our magnetic north and magnetic south are beginning to move, and this is why some of these birds are just dropping out of the sky. Their navigation system really depends upon the magnetic fields of Earth, and these fields are moving. They're moving, and so not only do we have these earthquakes and the tsunamis, the volcanic eruptions, the flooding, but we also have this pole shift, and, well, when it gets to be strong enough, it's going to cause a lot of problems with your electronic devices, and maybe even problems within your body. Our bodies are affected by you know, these magnetic fields as well. Then in July, and this is, you know, about 30 days away, a little less, July 19th, there's going to be a planetary alignment where all the planets take the same position on the same side of the sun, and of course that's going to have some kind of effect on our gravity as well. I've been paying very close attention to these things for about 6 months now. I didn't think that Planet X or Nibiru was a real thing. I mean, I knew it was real, but I didn't think that it was going to have any effect on us. And since then, I've done a considerable amount of research and looked into the Sumerians and their cycles, and pretty much it makes sense. It makes sense that this planet, actually, it's more like a star system, a mini constellation. I believe there's 4 planets and a couple moons involved here. And we're seeing these planets in webcams across the planet. The problem is you only have a very, very short amount of time in the morning during the sunset, and in the evening during, or I'm sorry, in the morning during sunrise, and in the evening during sunset. That's the only 2 times you can get a good glimpse of these planets, but they're there, and there's at least 3 of them, at least. My son, you know, he says, why should he care? What should he be scared? And of course, I don't think we should be scared. But on that same hand, there's things that could get. There's things that could happen as a result of this planet or mini star system coming into ours, and those are natural disasters that cause meltdowns of nuclear power plants. In my opinion, it was completely and utterly irresponsible for our government and these corporations to build these plants in earthquake-prone areas near the ocean, as they either didn't thoroughly think it through, or they simply didn't give a shit about the consequences. And I've talked about consequences quite a bit. You know, the state, let's say you get in trouble with the state over some pot. They'll send you to these fucking dumbass drug classes where the instructor is almost always on some sort of drug like Adderall or some sort of SSRI, preaching to you about consequences, and yet the state never considers the consequences of their decisions, but somehow we're expected to deal with the consequences of our decisions. But let me minimize this here. There was something I wanted to share with you. I know a lot of people really hate illegal immigration. Okay, I get it, because it drives down wages for the poor people, or the lower wage people, and it does cause a lot of problems in our society. But the way we treat them when they're captured, and in particular the children, it's terrible. And not only terrible under Donald Trump, but it was terrible under Barack Obama as well, and probably George Bush. But immigrant children are forcibly being injected with psychotropic drugs under Obama and Trump, and there's a lawsuit that's going on, or being launched as a result of this. How can they justify such a thing? People, I know you want to believe your presidents and your government officials, your elected officials, your police departments. You want to believe they're good, decent people, but they're not. They're really not. And sooner or later, we're going to have to deal with these people. Even after a major disaster, we're going to have to deal with these people. And we have FEMA already breaking out those giant FEMA barges, prisons, and taking people from the island there in Hawaii. And where are they going? I'm thinking a lot of these people are never being seen again. And the same with the Texas hurricane last year. I shared the video on my channel of the soldier that did the video, and we have a whole lot of this stuff coming up, a whole lot. And eventually these disasters are going to cause our economy to collapse. It's just really hard to know what's going to happen next. It really is. And it's all so crazy. If you don't know about this, one of my subscribers turned me onto it a few months back. I should have been using it all along. But this is called a World Incident Map. I will leave a link in the description box so that you can find it. But it's a system that shows all the different alerts going on. And there's a lot going on. I mean, all these here are earthquakes going on right now. Earthquakes. Earthquake, I think. Come on. Yeah. That was a 3.4 magnitude just over the Canadian border there. But one of the things I wanted to point out to you here is... No, I don't want that. Oh, I didn't want that either. That's too much. Bert. Okay, that's cool. So this half of the country, from like here to the eastern seaboard, it's littered with nuclear power plants. So anywhere on this side of the country, if we get a giant earthquake or anything like that, anything that could knock these things offline, we're in real fucking serious danger. I venture to say that the power plants are more dangerous than the actual natural disasters. But one of the things I wanted to point out to you is where you can go in the event of extinction level event where there's no doubt that a lot of people are going to be taken out. There's this place up in Canada, right in this area right here. It's mostly uninhabited, right? And there's lots of little lakes around there, and coming from where I'm at, it would be a major adventure if you want to look at it like that. I would choose to look at it as an adventure, or a quest, or survival. I'm right about here. And getting up there to that area would be a major feat, but I think for a lot of us it's going to be necessary. The thing is, it's very cold up here, and your growing seasons are very short, so you know, you want to really have your shit together. You want to know how to grow your food, and if you don't, you need somebody in your group that does. But this is the area right here. This is probably going to be the safest place for anyone in the United States and Canada for that matter, but no one's going to think about going up there because there's not really any roads. It's pretty much just you know, access roads for logging and this kind of thing. And a lot of the roads are little gravel roads up there are already overgrown and therefore tough to pass. Now, where I'm going with this is you may want to consider, if you to afford to, and getting a couple of ATVs and having enough gas to make it through a long journey like the one I'm talking about. I don't think that there's going to be any place safe in the United States to go. I think those places are dwindling very, very quickly. And again, if you see the Hawaii right here, I know I talked about this in the previous video I've done, but I cannot stress to you enough how likely, how probable it is for that mountain to break off and for it to slide off into the ocean going around 200 miles an hour. And a very large piece of mountain that would create a 1,000-foot tsunami wave, and by the time it reached the coast of California, it'd be more like 300 feet, but nevertheless, it's going to be very, very serious. And these things are really weighing heavy on my heart, to be honest with you. I have children, and I know full well they're not anywhere close to being prepared, or myself for that matter, for the journey we have ahead of us. Whether we end up here or not, the journey is going to be utterly insane. I went ahead and took a crappy job just so I can afford to buy more prepping gear and to get my vehicle in order, and hopefully we'll be able to get a couple quads here in the next couple of months. That's what I'm aiming at, four-wheelers. Hopefully it's not too late by then. It could be. So this planet and the planets that come with it, they're going to, or are, wreaking havoc with our tectonic plates and volcanoes, and the closer they get, the worse these events are going to, more intense they're going to be. And then of course you have what's remains of these governments afterward trying to regain control over the population. I really don't think they're going to be able to, and I think they're going to end up killing a whole bunch of people trying to regain control. But there's no shortage of events going on here, and just in our neck of the woods. There's a forest fire there, epidemic hazard there, another one there, another one there, and it just keeps going and going. So, can you think of any safe areas for us to go? Now, this is my best suggestion as far as where we should try to get to. Is up here in this area. Plenty of fish in these lakes. Plenty of wildlife. Probably plenty of edible wild plants as well. So you may want to think about that, and you may want to think about how the fuck you're going to get there. I will help as many people as I can on my way, but I don't think that I'm going to be in a very good position to do so with my family and my children and all the people that we will end up dragging with us. So I just wanted to give you a summary, I guess, of what I expect, and I do expect that mountain is going to crumble and fall into the ocean. I expect that there's going to be a giant tsunami that hits the entire coastline there, even all into Canada and down into Mexico and South America. Now we have a Mexico volcanic eruption, or beginning of volcanic activity, I should say. And then in Alaska, we have another one there that's beginning to wake up as well. And I'm thinking Yellowstone will probably end up being, part of this whole thing. And that would literally render the entire United States uninhabitable. And probably most of the planet as well, due to debris blocking the sun. So, and look, I'm not making these videos to try to scare anyone. I'm just trying to give you guys a heads up, because mainstream media isn't going to do it, and the government isn't going to do it. It's up to those of us who dig into this information and know to provide this information to you, and that's exactly what I'm trying to do here. Well, anyway, we have a very, very long road ahead of us, and I'm not getting much sleep. Weighing very heavy on me. Very heavy. Anyway, I hope everyone has a good day. Gotta go to work in a few hours. And remember, kill the state and live free.